Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm here today with my co-host, Lane Victoria. Lane, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
It is good to be here, and we have an awesome guest today.
Yes. We have Wayne Massengale from Grand Country today.
And so Wayne has been in Branson a really long time.
Yes, he's been performing in shows in Branson since 1981. So I guess that was before he ever even graduated high school.
So we want to find out about that. And so today it's kind of like the fiddle day, the violin day, because that's what Wayne is known for. And so just got some kind of interesting facts on the fiddle/violin. And so do you know what fiddle strings were originally made out of? Any idea? If you had to guess.
I mean, I don't know. You're going to have to tell me.
So originally, they were made out of things like sheep intestines and goat intestines, pig intestines, horse intestines, but primarily sheep intestines, which sounds very strange. But of course today...
I want a violin made of that. I want a violin made of that. We should ask Wayne if he has one.
Well, I meant the strings. Did I say the violin? I meant the strings.
Well, right, yeah.
Okay. But today, it's still an aluminum with nylon core. It can actually take a professional craftsman over 200 hours to make a violin. And then the most expensive violin in the world has been appraised at over $18 million. That's a violin from the 1700s.
It's chump change.
That's a lot of money. Now, I did also read where the most expensive violin ever sold was over $15 million. That's a lot of money. So the violin goes way back. Okay, here's another one. If you're playing the violin, how many calories do you burn an hour? Useless trivia.
Probably more than when running, because all I know is when I'm running, it takes like a good 10 seconds to burn 1 calorie. Yeah. So how many, Chris, tell us?
The official answer, according to somebody, is 170 calories an hour.
I think that is more, actually.
Yeah,
I just found my new workout.
There you go. And then here's a crazy one. The world record for cycling backwards while playing the violin is 5 hours, 8 seconds, and going 60 kilometers. Now think about that. Someone riding a bike backwards, playing a violin for 5 hours. That'd be kind of like Ripley's Believe It or Not.
That should be your new goal, Chris, to break that world record.
Okay, I think it'll take me a while. Folks, we're going to be back in just a moment with Wayne Massengale. Hold tight.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and today we are here with Wayne Massengale. And Wayne, it is great to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you for asking very much. I need to get into the mic.
Yeah, of course, I've been trying to get you on the show for a long, long time, and you are so busy. You're fiddling around all the time, and but we got you today.
I'm honored to be here. Yeah, I'm still fiddling around. I'm still in the middle of doing 3 shows a day at Grand Country Music Hall. We work, it seems like nonstop, but right now through the fall season, it's extremely busy because I'm part of 3 different shows there. The Down Home Country show, that's a 10 a.m. show. Then there's the Comedy Jamboree at 3, and then there's the 7:30 show, the Grand Jubilee, with Mike Patrick and Jamie Hagee. And also we're still doing our television show, which is Branson Country USA. Yep. And
you're busy. You're busy.
It's constant music, yep. music.
So I want to go way back with you, and one of the things we always do on the show is we want to get people's history. So talk to people how you got into this, because you've been doing this for a long time. And of course, I've known you for a long time.
You bet.
We went to school together. You're older than me, but we went to school together.
We're goblins.
Yep.
Graduated from Harrison High School. I got into this actually by accident. The people that were neighbors to my mom and dad, and like half raised me, if you want to call them babysitters, whatever. Wayne and Irma Gord were the ones that were taking care of me, and I guess at that time, I don't want to say they were getting worried about me, but where they lived, none of you guys lived in that neighborhood. So I didn't want to go out and like play kickball with myself. And I found myself staying inside all the time watching Price is Right or Days of Our Lives. And Wayne Gord, I always called him Papa. I didn't even know that they weren't my grandparents until Mom and Dad had to finally tell me, now, listen, they're not really your grandparents. I go, really? Oh, I never knew. I thought there was 3 sets. But anyway, he was a music teacher. He taught fiddle, he taught guitar, just whatever. Extremely talented man, but fiddle being his main instrument. He said, let's get him involved in music. And just one day at random, they had a bluegrass album sitting there, and she said, if there's an instrument right here, what would you learn to play? And just at random, I pointed at the fiddle, and she told him, and she said, all right, we'll get him set up. They talked with my parents, and just a week or 2 later, here come this, it wasn't even full size. I was 6-7 years old. Wow. At that time. They got me a 3/4 size. Something that could reach where my elbow could still be bent and I could reach. All right, well, they got it, but at that time I still didn't have much of an attention span. I was like a gnat, and I never really got interested in it, but he stayed with me and kept me, kind of in the loop, and I kept learning a few things. But then one day, he taught several fiddle players, and one of them, it was a fiddle player named Clint Block, who still lives in the area, but he was one of the students that got a call from Presley's, and he went to work with Presley's, and he was great. So Mom and Dad took me up there to watch him, and I seen that, and it's like, oh, wow, man, this is what I want to do.
Wow. And this was a young age.
This was at a young age. I was about 10, 11 years old.
Wow.
So from about a span of 6 months, I went from like A to Z in the time it took me to go A to B because I couldn't lay it down. I constantly wanted to play. It's like I got bit by show business,
So how did you get your start in Branson?
I actually got my start in Branson in 1981 because of performing in talent shows and contests and different things. I was like this young fiddle player, basically the barking show dog. I was an interesting showpiece. So Bob Kennedy started a show at the old downtown Owens Theater, and I got to become part of that, which was really, it only lasted a few months, but I got my foot in the door and I got to meet everybody. And at that time, they was building all these theaters that's eventually being bulldozed down right now. There was people like the Wilkinson brothers that was new in town, the Hee Haw Theater, which is in the Gillies site or Shanghai site, and there was all these theaters. It was just a magical time. But when we didn't have shows, I would go out and go see these shows and just meet people. So the year after that, I got my chance to be on the Strip. I got to work for the Hee Haw Theater and then get to meet people that was stars of Hee Haw at that time. Not at that time Roy Clark or Buck Owens, but people like Lulu Roman, the Hager twins, Kenny Price, and Gordy Tapp. It was just a wonderful time, and I got a chance to go from there.
And you were actually working some in Branson, but still going to school in Harrison.
Yes, that's right. And I was a part-time kicker for the Goblins. I had it arranged at that time in junior high to get off on Thursday nights. I was in 8th grade to kick, but as time goes by, that didn't work out too well.
So didn't you won this Arkansas State Championship, right, for
Yes.
fiddling? And
Yes.
how old were you when you won that?
I was 17 when I won that. Yes, at that time that was kind of like the youngest to ever win the state championship. They held that at Mountain View, Arkansas at the Folk Center, and that was a big honor to do that. So anyway, I was on fire at that time. I knew what I wanted to do. I don't want to say I threw school aside, but boy, my focus was really on music business. And now I'm close to 50, and I think, boy, I really wished I listened to what was going on in school.
So you graduated from high school.
Yes.
And then what happened after that?
Well, immediately after high school, of course, I wanted to go into music. I worked a little while with a show in Eureka Springs for a couple of 3 months, and it wasn't working out so well. Everybody else was going to college, but then I got a call from Daryl Plummer from the Plummer Family Show, and that was the third show to ever build in Branson, Missouri. He had a theater right there on the strip where the Americana sits right now. That was the building site. And I instantly got on with Daryl Plummer, and that's like, wow, man, of all the luck, you know, because at that time, Branson shows stopped at the end of October, and we would go on the road and promote
That's right.
from November through 1st of April. You know, there was, all shows did that and promoted Branson and showed the show business life. We'd come to your hometown, so I was excited, you know, because I didn't get out a whole lot. I was excited to go to Nebraska, Wisconsin, or down to South Texas or wherever we would go. I was pumped about that. Worked for Daryl for a year and a half, and I did a little summer job with Gene Mulvaney, who I'm still working with, at a place called Mutton Hollow for a few months. And then I got a call saying, hey, Wayne, one of Roy Clark's fiddle players left. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. You know, childhood dream. And so I got a chance to audition, and right after the audition, I went to work for Roy Clark, and this was in '89.
Yeah. And I tell you what, that is a perfect place to stop. We're going to be right back, and we're going to pick this story up in just a moment, so stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and we're here today with Wayne Massengale. And Wayne, you were just talking about, you had just gotten hired with Roy Clark, and like this is a year out of, well, what, 2 years out of high school. So you're like this young guy getting hired by this big entertainer, and so pick it up from there.
Well, you know, part of it was luck. I was a little bit overwhelmed, but I went from playing with the Plummer family and playing at Mutton Hollow and 100-degree heat and under shade trees and an apple butter stand to the next week I'm playing the Grand Ole Opry, filming Hee Haw with Roy Clark, and playing all these huge either arena, fair shows, you name it. It was just a wonderful time in life. He's a great guy, great performer, great guys in the band. I cherish it all and got to do a wonderful 5-year run with him, and just absolutely soaked it all up. And I thought, you know, this is great, you know, but I don't realize, you know, everyone needs to realize once you climb to a certain point, you always have to climb down. So I always remembered that. So I had to I appreciated the time that I had with Roy.
Yeah. And so then what happened after that?
While I was with Roy, there was a friend of mine who actually played with George Jones, and he had left George, and he was younger than I was. We was both about the same age. A fiddle player named Vance Davenport had called me and said, there's a show coming in from Las Vegas called Country Tonight. He said, I'm part of this, and he said, we're going to open up chains of these shows all around town. We've got everything open at that time, the Aladdin in Las Vegas. Now we're coming to Branson. We're wanting to go to Biloxi, Mississippi, Myrtle Beach, Pigeon Forge. And anyway, I said, man, it sounds interesting. And I went to see the show, and I was like, wow, this blows me away.
Yeah.
So they got in touch, with me and said, would you be interested in doing this? And I did. I jumped in on it, and 2 weeks later, there was a little unknown guy, up-and-coming talent by the name of Clay Cooper. Mm-hmm. They said, would you like to play bass? And well, yeah. So they started hiring guys around Branson that I had a connection to, and I mean, we really worked hard at Country Tonight. We worked hard, we partied hard. It was a great time, And anyway, Clay was just hired to be a bass player, and then all of a sudden, the MC heard himself falling up the stairs or doing something, and they said, Clay, can you come in? He said, well, sure. They said, can this guy really do it? I said, can he not only do it, he can give you whatever you're wanting him to read and do it backwards. Yes. I said, this is his bag. And after that first show, I mean, they might as well put Country Tonight presents Clay Cooper, because he was the face, he was the voice of it. And man, those were good times.
And so you stayed there, 10 years?
Right at 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so now you've been with Grand Country for...
I've been with Grand Country 14 seasons. Yeah, this is my 14th.
Okay, so tell the folks kind of what they can expect when they come to see Grand Country.
Well, you're going to come to see what Branson was really made of. It's broad. It's got a little of everything, but it still has some of the old values of the family traditional show, what started Branson. But it also it incorporates some of the new life that people are putting into the shows, and we have a little bit of everything for everybody at Grand Country, because we have like a 10 o'clock show that's the old traditional type show that you would see with a Plummer Family show or a Bob Links, Wilkinson Brothers show. The Comedy Jamboree show is kind of what I call a mixture of both. It has a little bit of the old, but they also do some new things in the show. And
we've had some of the guys on from Comedy Jamboree, and they are hilarious.
Well, they're momentum with no target, but yes, they are. Yeah, and then you got the 7:30 show, Mike Patrick show, which is the same. It's kind of like a modern day feel, but still has the old heart, and it's all about energy and chemistry, and you can't buy that. You might have somebody produce a show and makes it all sterile and like go here. We're a little bit looser. It's a produced show, but what Mike has brought is the chemistry of all this.
Yeah, because you're not just a violin/fiddle player that just stands in the back, real calm and gentle. Like you're kind of a little edgy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. They kind of like the idea of the guy that can be a band member, but he also looks like the guy that needs a little help across the street.
And you have some family members who perform with you as well, or? Yes,
my wife, Melody, of 20 years. She's a fiddle player, singer in this town, and quite honestly, a legend in her own right. She's played for so many folks, from those Art Jubilee, Brashlers, Presley's, as she's been with artists. She was Paul Harris, of course. She was with Joe Diffie, Brenda Lee, and I get the honor of working with her at Down Home Country Show. You don't supposed to have favorites. That's Mike Patrick's big line. You don't supposed to have favorites, but I'm saying it on camera. That's my favorite. Down Home Country is my favorite. Getting to work with my wife, Triple Fiddles, and Jamie Hagee, and the band guys, Larry Allred, and our sons, Garrett and Dylan Massengale. Garrett's a phenomenal drummer. He fills in for us now for whenever Rob's out. He does an awesome job. He filled in for me when I went to Texas to do the Texas State Fiddle Contest. He filled in for me on fiddle even. He plays everything. Dylan Massengale, and matter of fact, he'll be on tonight. You'll hear about this later on, but he's just a great singer. His voice, he just melts butter.
So it sounds like you're a proud papa.
Yes. Yeah.
And so did you have any, like, when you learned fiddle, was it all by ear? Did you have formal training, or?
I could have had, he also taught how to read music. Some of the students learned how to read music. Some of the people that he taught, besides Clint Block, he also taught Jamie Hagee. He taught George Mason, if you remember George Mason from years ago, and Harrison. He's a jazz violinist, he can play all styles. Billy Ward, who was a great fiddle player that was in town. And I'm just dropping these names. Every one of us that he taught went on to do this professionally. It's everybody that he sat down to taught, he was, some still play music. They might not be doing it at a show level, but the ones that he sat down, we really want to play. He Mr. Miyagi, he taught us the little secrets and put us in the ring.
Yeah. And so you've been there for a long time. And folks, here's the deal. If you have not been to Grand Country and seen any of the shows Wayne's in, you need to go and go check out Wayne. He's crazy on stage. He has a great fun time. I wish I had the hair Wayne does. I really do.
It's real easy. Just let her go.
Yeah, I just don't have much left. Man, it's great to have you in our community and to be a part of the community. And man, just thanks for getting up early and coming out to the show today.
I appreciate you asking me, both of you. Thank you so much.
So we'll be back in just a moment. Folks, welcome back to Play Branson, and man, what a great interview with Wayne. And I feel every time, like a lot of times when we do these shows, I feel like we're only scratching the surface.
Yeah, such a rich history in this town and with music, and just a wonderful person as well.
Yeah, and we were kind of figuring up that we think he's been on stage in Branson almost like 37 years now, not the whole time, but that's a long time, and now his kids are starting to do it as well.
He's kind of a staple of Branson now, I would say. So.
He really is. And so when I went to school, Wayne was like a year older than me, and every once in a while he would actually take me out to lunch in his maroon, I think it was a Camaro, and the upperclassmen. But we went to, I'm pretty sure him and I went with maybe some other people, and we went and saw Van Halen back in the day. And so that was one of the concerts we went to. And so I've known Wayne for a long time, although I don't see him a lot just because he's on the show and I do other things, but it was good to have him here. So here's the thing. Valentine's Day is coming up and you're like, what should I do? There's a lot now, and Valentine's Day is on Thursday this year, which is kind of always weird, when it's on a Thursday, but you could just come.
Thursdays just aren't romantic. I mean,
it's not just. So here's my theory: is you just make a longer weekend. You come to Branson on Thursday, you take off Friday, and you stay the whole weekend in Branson. And there are things to do in Branson in February, and so we have a lot of attractions open.
Yes, we do, and there are also some special kind of meals that are set up for Valentine's Day, like at the Keeter Center. That one's lovely. I think Chateau on the Lake has one, as well as, just some other kind of nice restaurants in town. You could do something special for your lady. You could give her a spa day, some wonderful spas in town. So
folks, here's the deal. If you haven't been to Branson, come and get out of the house for the wintertime blues. And the folks at ibranson.com, they can help you. You can call them at 1-877-ENTERTAIN, or you can go to ibranson.com. We want to thank you for watching and stay tuned for our next episode coming up soon.